I want to tell you today about the power of love. Recently, I attended the funeral of a dear friend's husband. They had been married 7 years. And as I sat in the service that day, I listened intently to the wonderful things that different people in the church were saying about this man. Some of those things were funny, some of them, were very touching. He'd been a very active man in the church and in his community. So there were many people who stood and spoke well of this man. As I listened, I became aware that there were some thoughts formulating in my mind that I had not thought to, say anything or to do anything. And as those thoughts formulated, I realized that God was speaking to me and that it was my turn to go down front to share those thoughts. When I turned around and faced the congregation, because I didn't know any of them except my friend, I introduced myself and then I said, I did not know him. I had never spent time with him. And I appreciate all the wonderful things that you have shared today. But I believe God is showing me something about this man, about a life well lived, that maybe none of us have thought about before. That is, that this man poured his love into my friend's life in such a way that what I knew and what I saw was that my friend was growing, developing into the vibrant, wonderful woman she had always been. But the relationship they had together was such that he gave himself in love to her. She began to have a bounce in her step, a smile on her face. There was a delight in her eyes every time she talked about her husband and the things that they were doing together. It was a short marriage, only 7 years before he died. But during that time, my friend was a woman who had a sense of being valued, of being cared for and loved at a much more deep level than just physical attraction. She was developing in her conversation, in the way she was thinking, and in the relaxation and peace that had come to her life in this relationship. I did not know the man. I only knew the effect that this man was having on my friend. It was a beautiful thing. It was a wonderful thing. I'm sure he was benefiting as well in this marriage. But for me to learn what kind of man he really was by the way he treated his wife was an amazing thing to see. Well, when the service came to an end a short time later, after others had shared, as I was leaving the church, I was amazed at the number of men who stopped me and said, "Those were wonderful things that you shared with us today." Of course, there were a few women as well, but it was a shock to me how many men took the time at a funeral to tell me that the things that I had said about their friend had touched them deeply. They had received, I believe, a message that they had long needed. God had given me some words to share that was showing these men a more excellent way to live with their wives. and their daughters and their neighbors. For he was saying to them, love never fails. It not only does you good, but it does others good as well. It doesn't fail. It always accomplishes good. It always develops the person that you are giving your love to. I know we're all busy and we're all stuck on our own stuff. But why not experiment, if nothing else, with pouring your love into the life of another person and watch that person grow. Watch that person develop in ways that will surprise you. I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to get started. I encourage you to take the risk. Maybe you won't be accepted at first. I don't know. You will have to take the risk of loving other people and see the wonderful results that can happen to you